Kumari Matin. Welcome to our program, Our Workplace. I'm very honored to meet you here today. And Jack, it's good to have you here too. I know that you've been together a long time, and it's a pleasure to meet both of you here today.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Today, basically, as you know, the world is discussing the crisis, the financial crisis that affects people. You have come here with a very specific message to our governing body at the International Labour Organization. Can you tell me what that message is?
Basically, the message that I'm delivering here in Geneva is to deliver on behalf of the ILO and individuals here, is talk about the importance of considering full access for people with disabilities in terms of this world crisis. It's important that though we understand that this crisis affects everyone, we need to make sure that disabled people are part of the equation and that they are not set aside, and particularly at this time. Even without the crisis, they should be considered.
You have been an advocate of those with disabilities. You've been our advocate. You've been working with us as well, but you have been since childhood. Tell me a little bit, what was it like growing up as a child with a disability?
Actually, I'm fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to have parents who understood my deafness, parents who understood my needs, parents who understood that I needed to have equal access to education, to even having to do with things like going to the movies or making friends, and so forth. They made sure that I got the appropriate guidance to where I'm able to be here today with you. They understood the importance of that. And I had a childhood where I really had the access to pleasure just like anybody else. I had the privilege of being able to have access to books, to friends. Particularly, I had a good education.
You're beautiful and you're very articulate. Most people, at least here in Switzerland, most people are uncomfortable with disabilities. They don't understand that in fact somebody who's hearing disabled can be very articulate. And tell me a little bit, what do you say to people such as this?
Well, actually, I say to people who may not have an understanding or an experience with individuals who have disabilities, people who you might say you're beautiful and you're articulate, as you said to me, and that you have an education and you're able to advocate on behalf of people with disabilities. I think it's because if people themselves aren't aware, they're not necessarily educated, perhaps they may not have had the experience, that there are people with a variety of abilities. Not everyone is perfect, and so we really can't blame it entirely on individuals who don't have an understanding. It's rather the people who chose not to share or give them an understanding or say that, you can accept people with disabilities, because people with disabilities do have talents, they have skills, they have the ability to help, just as you would think that they need help. They're just like anyone else. You need to get people a chance.
Well, I think that a number of people feel like you. The International Labour Organization, one of our main points is dialogue. We believe there should be dialogue. And we think that a lot of the time there is not enough dialogue in this world. And perhaps this is an area where we need dialogue. We need people to sit together and discuss issues as opposed to perhaps shocking people.
Yeah, I don't think that's the way necessarily to go. I don't think it is. I think particularly when you're talking to people who have even never heard about disabilities or don't know what the potential is for people with disabilities, it's too disorienting. And I think that we need to bring the dialogue down. We need to bring the volume down. We need to talk, teach, educate, not preach. We shouldn't preach. I think we need to have open minds. We need to discuss. We need to work together.
I've been talking to friends and colleagues here, and every time I mention your name, of course, the Children of Lesser God comes up immediately. But something that comes up instantly is Dancing with the Stars. I have to say, this has just, in a sense, it becomes the topic of conversation. People are absolutely amazed. Not the fact only that you danced beautifully, but they try to say, well, how does she do it? I mean, most of us are, four-footed and so on. How did you manage? Was there a beat? Was there a clock with you? How did you manage that?
You know what? There was nothing of that sort. I have for some strange reason, a sense of rhythm. Where it comes from, I have no idea. You can tell me, I don't know. Maybe somewhere in the back of my head. Because remember, I became deaf when I was 18 months old, so perhaps there's something that I was born with. I don't know. But regardless of it, I had a great dance partner. That's important to realize. He was a good teacher, and I listened to him, being a good student. And knowing that there were 25 million people watching me on television, I had to do well. And it was just like studying a script as an actor. I memorized my lines. I memorized my steps. I learned how to dance. I learned how to move across the dance floor. And I had a great time. I had fun. Most people ask me the same thing. They'll say, Marley, how is it that you're able to do it? Because you can't hear, and the music is important. Did your partner tap you on the shoulder? And I have to say, no, not one tap, not one metronome, nothing at all. But, and if people say, you know what, well, the proof is that anyone can do it, and that's what I did there. You don't have to be deaf to be on the show. You don't have to have two left feet to be able to dance. Anybody can do it if you just put your mind to it. There are no barriers.
Okay. Acting. So many people aspire to becoming an actress. Acting is such a difficult profession to get into. Hollywood is so difficult to get into. And yet, you have done it. And you've done it well. And you've gained respect for the types of roles you've played, but also, I think, for what you have given to the public. Tell me, how did you get into acting? How does one get into it? And what sort of a profession actually is it for a person with disabilities?
You know what, I assume that it's all about, well, for me, it was all about luck. It was all about luck. Getting to the right people. Hollywood is probably one of the biggest cultures. I mean, it's really like high school, except with more money, really. There's a lot of barriers. It's difficult. It's a difficult business to get into. It's a difficult business to maintain a career in. It's a difficult business to rely on in terms of a career, in terms of work and earning a salary. It's extremely unstable. However, if you really love acting, if you really love making movies and doing television, then you stick with it. In my case, people say, how is it, Marley, that you're able to get gotten into Hollywood? Kids ask me, can I be an actor in Hollywood just like you when I grew up? And what I say to them is, you know what, first, the most important thing is to complete your education, finish high school. Hopefully then, if you want to go to college, you can have the opportunity to see other jobs out there that aren't quite as difficult to get into, have the opportunity to expand your horizons, and perhaps consider something other than acting. I'm not trying to discourage acting. I'm not trying to discourage Hollywood. I love Hollywood. It is my absolute passion. But it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Okay, well, following up on that, you sort of are speaking to a larger public of people who have disabilities. What is your message in general, not just about acting? What do you say? There's a lot of people who will be listening in on this program and seeing it. What is it you would give as a message to these people?
Well, I think people, in particular people with disabilities, what I could pass along to them is, first of all, for people with disabilities, be yourself. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't do anything, you can't do this, you can't do that. Don't let anyone put barriers in your way. Break down the barriers, or walk around, or go around the barriers, and prove people wrong. Do what it is that your heart tells you to do. You need to work on it. You need to focus on it. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. And make sure that you have a good system of support around you, of people.
Tell me something. For all of us who have been blessed with, we have other types of disabilities perhaps, but basically blessed with the basics to get into a job and so on like this, what is it we can do to help those of us less fortunate? What is it, not just me as a person, but governments, people in the street, what can they do to help?
Let people with disabilities, people less fortunate than yourselves, just let them in. Open the doors. Let them have a taste. Let them experience as you would. Do not close the doors. You can never, ever underestimate what people with disabilities can contribute. You will be surprised.
You know, sitting here, you're galvanizing, or I think myself and all of my colleagues, into trying to be better citizens in a sense and helping. If I'm a mother and I have a child who's been born with certain disabilities, what would you tell her as a last message?
I would say to the mom, if your child is perhaps deaf or disabled, it's important to communicate. It's important to give the child access to tools. tools like language, tools like signing, whatever it is, whatever tools to speaking, the way that you might need to communicate. Make sure that your child has the opportunity to explore the world. Make sure, don't ever let your child stop from whatever it is they want to do. Give them the experience that they need as you would any child. Give them independence and love and respect them.
Molly, you have 4 children yourself, I'm told. 4. Wonderful. Tell me something. And they obviously are not hearing the same.
No, they are not.
How do you interact with them? How is it? What's your day with them? I mean, what?
Actually, I have an interpreter with me all. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I nearly believed you.
No, people think that I have Jack with me all the time, 24/7, even with my husband standing there. But no, that's not the case. That's not the case.
I'm relieved.
No, actually, my kids, in all honesty, they were born to a deaf mother. They wouldn't know otherwise what it is to have a deaf mother or a hearing mother. They don't know the difference. I'm sure that they can imagine, or they thought about it. But putting that aside, one of them said to me once, what's it like to have a hearing mother? And I said, oh my goodness. And that really touched me. But at the same time, it's normal. All children are inquisitive. So sometimes I think to myself, what would it be like to hear? I mean, obviously I do that. But, we have a typical family just like everybody else. I'm no different as a mother. Things that I can't do are here. That's simple as that. Otherwise, I teach them, I'm there for them, I read them books, I speak fairly well, and I can sign at the same time. I cook for them, I take them to school, I root for them at soccer games, I do everything. It's as normal as it can be in our house, just like for any other mother and father. There is no difference in our household.
You've done amazing. I've seen you on West Wing, fabulous things. You've been an actress, you've been a mother, you've been a wife, you're an advocate, you're a spokesperson for us in the ILO. What is the next stage? What are you going to do next? How are you going to surprise us next?
Well, I've already written 4 books. I've won an Academy Award, as you said. I've maintained a career. I've been an advocate. I've been a mother, which, of course, I wanted to let you know I'm not having any more children. That job is set as it is. But, there's a lot more ahead for me, I think, and I have a great deal on my plate. My plate is completely full, but it always has room for more things to do, for more things to advocate for. Now I'm working with the ILO. That's a big project of mine. I'm making noise about getting captioning on the internet and captioning in television programs. It's not easy to expand beyond the United States, and I'm never going to give up. And I'm speaking on behalf, in the United States alone, 36 million Americans who are deaf or hard of hearing. So that's a large number of people. There's so much more to do, and I just want to be the mother for my kids, the wife for my husband. Those are my top priorities, clearly. But at the same time, otherwise, I'm just out there. I keep on pushing. I keep on advocating until it's my time to go.
We're very proud of you, and we're very, very honored to have you. And we look forward to seeing the rest of all your activities in the future on our behalf and the rest of the world. Thank you so much for being here, Molly.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.